Hello learners, in this program I will discuss about igneous textures, processes, pathways, fabric related to textural equilibrium and consolidation of volcanoclast into solid rock. First I will discuss about fabric related to textural equilibrium, secondary grain boundary modification. In this class there are two major categories. First is graphic and granophoric texture. The second one is myrmecatic texture. I will show you with the help of a field photograph how the granophoric texture looks in the field. Outcrop of a homogenized granophyre. The rock having granophoric texture is called granophyre. The granophyre outcrop, how it looks in the field, you can see here there are grayish colored circular minerals surrounded by dark grey color minerals. The same rock under the microscope showing intergrowth of alkali feldspar. Alkali feldspar is alkali feldspar and quartz. This is quartz basically. This quartz and alkali feldspar, they show intergrowth attributed to how this texture has been formed. This texture has been formed due to simultaneous crystallization of two mineral components, simultaneous crystallization of two mineral component, that too at a eutectic point. So, I am talking about the eutectic crystallization. So, this texture actually resulted from the eutectic crystallization and this texture is known as granophoric texture. Here in this slide, this is a thin section, the rock seen under the microscope, graphic quartz. This is a graphic quartz with forms attained dependent on penetrability of the K feldspar. This K feldspar is there. These grains they penetrate K feldspar. Quartz penetration has also affected plagioclase. These quartz grains they affected plagioclase grains. And a crystal grain of it is surrounded by quartz. Further these grains are surrounded by quartz. See here. The micrographic quartz feldspar intergrowth in a fine grained volcanic ground mass and this is a micrographic quartz crystal. See here another slide where eutectic crystallization shown here. Graphic idiomorphic quartz. Quartz is idiomorphic. Idiomorphic means all crystal faces are very well developed here. See here good well developed crystal faces, all the faces of quartz crystals are well developed in K feldspar. These quartz crystals are embedded within the potash feldspar, that is orthoclase. The simultaneous crystallization of two mineral components, simultaneous crystallization of quartz and orthoclase. Suppose this is A or B, two minerals are there, one is quartz, one is orthoclase. This is the crystallization curve. The crystallization curve of orthoclase, it follows this curve, the crystallization follows this curve, whereas the quartz crystallization follows this curve. But these two curves they merge together at a point. This point is called a eutectic point. Because of simultaneous crystallization of two mineral components, the graphic intergrowth or graphic texture has been formed. So, this is the reason why graphic texture have been formed. Now, I am showing another slide where graphic quartz in perthetized feldspar. I have already discussed perthetic texture. This is a perthetic feldspar. You have a host of orthoclase and guest, these lamellar guest of other feldspar, maybe soda feldspar host and potash feldspar lamellae guest, they are there. And in this feldspar, graphic quartz in perthetized K feldspar, the perthite forming solutions partly followed the contact graphic quartz K feldspar. This contact, I am talking of this contact. This contact is between quartz and perthetic orthoclase. This is not a simple orthoclase, but it is a perthetic orthoclase. I am showing my own hand drawing figure here, potash granite here, this is rock is potash granite, where you have orthoclase. This orthoclase, large proportion of slide is covered by orthoclase and quartz. This is quartz and this is quartz and this is muscovite. Muscovite is a mineral, biotite is another mineral And this quartz here, this is not a graphic quartz, but it is a released quartz. After the formation of orthoclase, the quartz have been released. The legend SiO4 has been detached from its cation and it has been crystallized as a vermicular quartz. So, here vermicular quartz is developed, but the growth between this orthoclase and quartz is actually a graphic growth, graphic intergrowth. Orthoclase showing perthetic intergrowth. An intergrowth of vermicular quartz in a sodic plagioclase host commonly in contact with K-rich alkali feldspar, the texture is called myrmecatic texture. Origin: direct crystallization or replacement in subsolidus unmixing of K bearing plagioclase in ternary feldspar. Unmixing also takes place in graphic texture also. Now, I am discussing another type of texture, that is called replacement texture. First formed mineral was later on replaced by or subsequently by another mineral. As a result, we get pseudomorph. Pseudomorph means the crystal which crystallizes in the replaced mineral space, it acquires that shape and it forms a pseudomorph. The another category is symplectic texture, replacement texture. A mineral is replaced by intergrowth of one or more minerals. Urelatization. Urelatization means addition of OH molecule in the pyroxene structure. As a result, amphibole is formed. The process is known as urelatization. Similarly, sauceratization, when pyroxene converted into amphibole or amphibole is further converted into biotite, there is further addition of OH molecules. As a result, biotite is formed and further it forms clay minerals. Chloratization. Mafic mineral, for example, agate, it changes into chlorite because of the process of chloratization. Sericitization. Sericitization is another process. Feldspar may be calcic plagioclase or orthoclase feldspar or feldspathoid. Feldspathoid is a different group of mineral which is converted into mica, micaceous group of mineral such as muscovite and biotite. The process of conversion of feldspar or feldspathoid into micaceous group of mineral is called sericitization. I am talking about the miscellaneous terms, terms which are commonly used in order to describe textures. For example, embayed texture, embayment due to reaction with the melt. Suppose you have one crystal, early formed crystal is lying in a melt. This crystal is always in reaction with the melt. As a consequence, some of the portion of the early formed crystal is eaten away or dissolved. It has been incorporated into the melt. As a result, embayed margins or embayed boundaries of the crystal faces have been developed. Spinifex texture, centimeter scale subparallel to dendritic growth of olivine crystals is quenched. The best example is komatiite, the ultramafic rock. Ultramafic rock is normally crystallized under deep seated conditions, under plutonic conditions, but because of sudden quenching of ultramafic magma, it develops a fine grained plate like crystals, and these crystals are distributed randomly, giving rise to a texture known as spinifex texture. Orbicules, another variety is orbicular texture or orbicules, ovoid masses of radiating crystals centrally bended found in granites. So, orbicular structure is also present. Now, those textures which are formed due to volatile fluid cavities and their textures, such as vesicular. Vesicular texture is formed due to sudden escape of gases. When magma is cooling under surface conditions or in a shallow conditions or on the crust, what happens? The volatiles dissolved in the melt, they get escape. they escape into the atmosphere. As a result, open spaces in the form of vesicles are left in the system. So, these are the vesicular texture. Pumaceous, number of vesicles, the density of vesicle is increased several times. Scoriaceous, open spaces, and the number of vesicle is enormous to the extent that the density of the rock, the heavier rock become lighter rocks. The rock can float in water. Amygdaloidal, these open spaces later on or subsequently filled up by secondary minerals such as calcite, zeolite, quartz, chalcedony, other minerals, any other minerals. If these open spaces later on occupied by secondary minerals, as a result amygdaloidal texture or vuggy texture is developed. I am showing an example of amygdaloidal or vuggy texture. See my cursor carefully here. These are the open spaces formed by cooling and consolidation of magma under surface conditions. Later on, these vesicles were occupied by these greyish colored amygdules. They are better technically known as amygdules. They are chiefly composed of quartz, calcite or zeolite. So, these amygdules, they occupy these open spaces and the texture is called amygdaloidal texture. Volatile fluid bubbles become vesicles. As magma solidifies, the texture is vesicular. Highly vesicular silicic glass or pumice having pumaceous texture. Scoria and scoriaceous are terms for andesite and basalt. Although the rock is basically pumaceous, but if it is basalt or andesite, better call it as scoriaceous rocks. These vesicles are filled with secondary minerals producing amygdules or amygdaloidal texture. Now, come to the vuggy texture. Vugs, open spaces, vuggy fabric, angular vugs between crystals. If the shape of the vug is angular, mearolitic cavities, vugs in a phenolitic rocks. Third one is dixie-taxitic texture. Coarse grained basaltic lava flows consist of angular vugs. Lithofissile texture, hollow bubble like gas cavities in rhyolitic lavas. Rhyolite is a rock, but it is always in the form of a lava flows. Then volcanoclastic fabric, these fabrics are very important. When you are discussing about the volcanic terrain, these textures or this fabric is very important. The pyroclastic or vitroclastic. Pyroclastic, pyro means fire, heat, clastic means fragments. So, because of heat, the rock has been formed into small clastic particles or pieces, and the texture developed is called pyroclastic texture. Fabric related to consolidation of volcaniclast into solid rock. If these pyroclastic rocks, which I have just now discussed, if they are lying on the surface and they were transported, or even they have not been transported, but at its own place if they consolidated, they form a rock, and the rock is known as volcaniclast, solid rock. And in this case, welding and fusion is taking place. Sometimes two pieces of the volcanoclast, they get welded up or fused together. So, welding and fusion texture is developed. Eutaxitic texture, rheomorphic texture, and second one is devitrification and vapor phase of crystallization, felsitic spherulitic texture. Devitrification, vitreous means glass. Devitrification, the glass which was formed during crystallization, rapid crystallization. I am talking about rapid crystallization, and rapid crystallization is taking place on surface conditions or in a shallower depth. So, the glass, the magma when crystallizes on a surface condition, the melt is directly converted into glass. Over the time period, this glass is developing crystals. The glass becomes devitrified over the time period. As a result, small tiny crystals have been developed. Here I am showing you a slide. In this section you have lot of pumiceous material. This pumiceous material, these layers, they are lying close to each other and consolidated together and forming eutectitic texture. Similarly, here in this case spherulites, these are the entire this black material is a glass. Over the time period this crystallinity have been developed, remaining part is glass, this crystal is developed here in this part. But these crystals normally they develop towards center of the glass mass, but periphery it is always glass. Here it is glass, black colored glass. So, this kind of texture is called spherulitic texture. I am discussing about volcanoclastic fabric related to fragmentation of the magma. The magma which erupts in the form of volcano, there is a sudden blasting of the entire rock material is taking place. As a result, fragments of various sizes they have been formed. So, depending upon the size, depending upon their composition and depending upon their heritage, these are the three important bases of classification of volcanoclastic fabric. First, I will discuss about the size. They can be classified as ash particles. It is less than 2 millimeter size, sand size, silt size or clay size particles derived out of explosion of the volcanic glass or any other igneous rock, and as a result ash size particles are formed. Lapillis, the size range is 2 millimeter to 64 millimeter, pebble or granule size, they are similar to the pebble size or granule size. Blocks and bombs. Bomb is a term applied for a large size of boulder or cobble formed due to the explosion of the volcanogenic material. Second basis of classification is composition. Single crystal of ash size, lithic clast, polygranular mineral aggregates when more than one mineral grain is clubbed together and forms an aggregate. Lapillis to block size. The lapilli size is also there and block size particle is also there. So, definitely their composition of different type. Here the composition is more or less uniform composition. Here the composition is varied. Third one is vitroclast. Fragments of melt quenched to glass are of any size. So, the fragments of varied size, but these fragments they are of glassy fragments. Their composition may be different, but they are glass. The last one is heritage. Cogenate, derived from the magma, consists of glass. If the material which the volcanoclast which you are looking for, if it is derived from the magma consists of glass, then the term cognate is used. Accidental clast, it is nothing to do with volcano, but suddenly external material or the rock from unknown source is fallen into the magma, it will give rise to accidental clast. Xenoliths, while melting of the mantle, sometimes the refractory materials, refractory means high temperature minerals which are not affected, which do not undergo dissolution into the melt, they remain as such. So, those minerals or those refractory minerals they remain as it is, they are called xenoliths, derived from older rocks. Normally previously existing older rocks of the vent of the volcano, if they collapse into the volcanic lava, what happens? These xenoliths are formed. Now, I am discussing about the process of fragmentation. The process of four types: pyroclastic, where heat is involved; autoclastic, no heat is involved; epiclastic, and glass shards. Pyroclastic ejecta or tephra, deposit of well sorted ash or lapilli. Ash or lapilli well sorted means these ash or lapilli particles are of more or less uniform size. When they deposit and they form a pyroclastic ejecta when deposited, A technical term is applied for such kind of rocks is called tephra. Pyroclastic falls, because of volcanic explosion, maybe the surrounding rock or maybe the rock on way to the volcanism, if it has been blown up to a great height and fallen over the volcano, that kind of material is pyroclastic fall. Pyroclastic flow, sometimes this material is large in amount and it often happens that volcanism always accompanied by rains. So, because of rains, these pyroclastic material they flow together and form a deposit. So, this kind of deposit is called pyroclastic flow deposit. Pyroclastic surge, dilute concentration of solid particles in hot gas, very fine particles, sometimes they are there in the volcanic gases. They are embedded in the form of colloidal particles. These particles are commonly known as pyroclastic surge. With this photograph, I want to show you how the glass shards or the broken pieces of the glass, they look under the microscope. See here, this is a thin section, these are the glass shards. See Y shaped, see Y shaped, fine lathe shaped glass shards, they are there. Sometimes they are altered also. Now, I am discussing another type of texture which is due to inclusions. Something foreign material, foreign means outside material, not connected with the volcano or not connected with the magma is incorporated into the melt. So, those materials they are better known as polygenetic. Polygenetic means genesis is different types, they originate at least 5 different ways. Xenoliths, as I told you earlier, fragments of foreign country rock caught into the magma is xenolith. Restite, piece of crystalline residue generated in the lower crust. I would like to tell you all the rocks they have been derived from the basaltic magma, and basaltic magma is derived from the partial melting of the magma. As a result of partial melting of the magma, the mantle material, some of the mantle material is composed of refractory minerals such as olivine, and these olivines or some ulvospinels, they undergo melting at a very elevated temperature. So, they are better known as restites. These restites they are incorporated into the melt and they are pushed upwards because of the bouncing pressure. Another variety is cognate inclusion or otoliths, crystallized part of inclusion lifted away from the margin, marginal portions they have been lifted away. Next variety, cumulopheric accumulation, clumping of mafic minerals at one place. Mafic minerals formed at a greater depth in a larger size. When the cooling and crystallization is taking place at great depths, the large size crystals have been formed. These large size crystals sometimes clubbed together and accumulated in the form of a cumulopheric accumulation of mafic minerals. The last way of genesis is blobs of partially or completely recrystallized mantle derived basaltic magma. These are the 5 different origin of the inclusions which are there in the rocks. What is anisotropism? Basically, there are 3 axes of a cube A, B and C. If you cut a rock in the cube shape and you examine or if you determine optical properties or any mechanical properties, all along the A, B and C axis you may find uniform characters. If you find uniform characters, then the rock is isotropic. If you do not find uniform characters, then the rock is anisotropic. What are the factors which are held responsible for the development of anisotropism in rock? These are foliation. The texture, because of foliation we call it as foliated texture. Because of lineation, suppose some mineral grains aligned along the line, the texture is lineated. Layering, suppose the magma is crystallizing, you may remember that magma behaves like an aqueous solution. So, similarly, if flood water is allowed to settle in a glass, what will happen? The large size particles will be settled down. Similarly, if a magma is allowed to crystallize in a magma chamber over the time period, what will happen? The heavier minerals will be settled down at the bottom of the magma chamber, forming layers. So, layering is generated. Igneous laminations are developed, and lamination causes development of anisotropism. Trachytic textures. Trachytic texture is because of flow of lava. The lava contains rod like feldspar crystals, lathe shaped feldspar crystals. Because of flowing of the lava, these lathe shaped crystals, if these crystals are aligned in a particular direction, they develop a trachytic texture. Trachytic means rough in feel. So, in one direction of the rock surface is smooth, but opposite to it, it is rough in feel. So, it develops a trachytic texture. Schlieren texture. Schlieren means the foreign body or the xenolith incorporated into the melt and later on consolidated as it is. So, this develops a Schlieren or a flattened type of foreign body, which is developed within the rock, is called Schlieren. Flow layering, because of the flow of the magma, layering is generated. So, this way the anisotropic fabric have been developed. I have discussed about igneous textures, graphic texture, foliated textures, fragments, inclusions and many other varieties of textures. Thank you.